Welcome to our show, and I'm super excited today to be welcoming you, our listeners, but most importantly, welcoming my co-host, Coach Shilpa Joshi, to yet another beautiful session. And in this session, I can tell you, we're going to go deep into career transition. We're going to go deep into career revival. And I tell you, I cannot wait to hear the gems from Coach Shilpa. And as usual, this podcast is intended to focus on two main things. We focus on leadership development and we focus on career transition. And every week we ask you to join us, enjoy the podcast, share this with your friends and colleagues in work, at home, so that we can all grow. We can perfect our career transition journey and we can perfect our leadership journey. And so, without really further ado, I would like to welcome you, Coach Shilpa, with what you got to tell us today about career. And one of the key things that always comes to my mind that when we talk about career, when I think about career, is the element of change is important because we live today in a very dynamic world. And so I want us to start right from the word career change. And then we go to career transition and career revival. And these are really interchangeable terms that usually come around. So I want you to lay the floor for us, the listeners, so that we can really get clarity on these words. So go for it, Coach Shilpa.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach Gerald, for having me here as a co-host and also having the focus on a career aspects. And I'm sure that many of our audiences are keen on learning this. And firstly, I want to thank for all the support, all the love, and all the commitment you all, my audiences, my working professional, aspiring leaders, you all have shown that faith in us. So we are more and more committed to give you value and only what works. So coming back to your question, this is a question of my interest. And every time I evolve on the career journey, I have seen all these terms. As you say, it's interchangeable. But still what I would do is try to make this little subtle change more visible. Right. So simply put, it is a way of redefining or recrafting your career at every different stages. Right. So the change could be big or small. And the transition is more wider and bigger change. And most of the times it is self-driven. It is also a process of choosing and pursuing sometimes new career. It also entails the act of seeking occupation other than your present one, and also possibility of new pathways. However, the career revival is a bigger process. It's a new long-term journey approach for those who seek the success that really feels good inside. You remember those times, Gerald, is that when we are successful, but sometimes we feel there is something lacking or hurting or
something missing, mostly,
Yes. So career revival is aimed to have a success that feels good inside. So it's an intentional transition in a career to align with who you are and who you are meant to be, with a lot of impact and upskilling.
I like that.
So I want to add few more things here, if you're okay with that.
Sure, go ahead. Yes.
So as to make these terms more clearer. So for some, it could be a career change, like a big and small, which is mostly an external shift in your career, which is like a new job. It could be self-driven or circumstance-driven. For example, there are organizational restructures. There is mergers happening, acquisitions happening, or you are relocating to new location. And for some, it could be a matter of betterment. It's like elevation to higher titles, positions, or better financial package. We all like that word CTC in the corporate world, right?
Yes, we like that. Yes, absolutely.
And sometimes it is from being an individual contributor to becoming a team player, or from being a team player to becoming a team leader, and you coach leaders to become better leaders, right?
So this is like really expanding your horizon, right? Sounds like that.
Yes, it sounds like that. So it's more of expanding horizons. while for some it could be a change of organization,
Okay.
change of domain. For example, somebody shifting from non-IT profession to IT profession,
Okay.
somebody going from marketing to becoming a client experience expert,
Beautiful.
somebody going from accounting to compliance. So these are little bigger changes,
Yes.
bigger transitions.
Yes.
Some change industry. I have seen people go from engineering to finance. I've seen people going from FMCG to luxury, from education, being a professor like you and becoming a research expert
Okay.
because to satisfy and give more value. While
Absolutely.
for some, as you know, it could be as massive transformation as taking that leap of faith, like quitting a job,
Yes.
becoming from employee to entrepreneur, being an independent consultant, coach, professional, or for some, semi retire for that flexibility in life, like having time and money both, or
Exactly.
retire for growth. So, this is such a wide spectrum. But
Yes.
the bigger the change, we start calling it a career transition because it is also coming from inside and outside. So
Mhm.
both approaches are applied in the career transition. And career revival, if I can summarize, is a bigger, long term, sustainable process to create a future where you want to go.
Beautiful. Just to hold on to the last point, the career revival. So it sounds to me, called Shilpa, that career revival is the bigger picture. It's
Yes.
big, it's long lasting, and it's really taking somebody from one point to the other. And I guess this is where you come to help people, right? Because
Yes.
if I am supposed to quit my job, or if I'm to go from engineering to medicine, from accounting to finance to something else, maybe to retail and stuff like that, that's pretty scary, right? And I guess somebody like you, who is an expert, would be the ideal person to help such people move through.
Yes,
Now,
absolutely. Absolutely.
yes.
I'll also add one point here that you
Mm,
mentioned the word scary, and it is scary because most of the times, though we have our loved ones, family, peers, and friends,
yes.
most of the time it becomes a lonely journey. And that's where you need the right person beside you to help you and guide you. And what is more important is to choose the right way of career transition, big or small, or career revival, whether it is quitting or taking a quantum leap. And I
Yes.
would want to share some my personal story, which I'm very sensitive about, but we are in the closed, we are in the safe environment with
Yes.
you and our lovely audience. And I want to
Yes.
share my mistakes as well, because from there we learn a lot.
I like that. I can't wait. I know you've always had this passion to share your stories, very personal stories. And
Yeah.
as you're listening to this, just know this is coming from the place of love. This is coming from the place of trust, because we trust you. That's why we put ourselves on the line to bring our stories so that you can learn from mistakes, but also you can learn from experience. So, Coach Shilpa, go ahead. What
Yeah.
story would you like to share with us today?
So I was in one point of time, Coach Gerald, in the, I would say not the peak, but at least at a good success level of my
Mhm.
career. And I thought, okay, now I'm set. The life is going to continue like this. I'll keep
Yes.
working, I'll keep earning. And that's when certain turbulence happened in my career. And
Yes.
I decided to quit.
Yes.
Okay. And that was one wrong way of quitting. And I'll talk about right and wrong ways of quitting. What happened is
Yes.
that I took this decision from a place of deep emotion, the angst and the turbulence I was feeling inside because of certain circumstantial changes happening in the career.
Yes.
And I would now say that it was the biggest mistake, but biggest lesson in my life,
Yes.
because after leaving the job the wrong way, I got into something which was untreaded, unwalked territory for me
Yes.
without enough preparation. And I almost lost saving of my 20 years working.
Wow.
It was all the hard earned money. I worked non-stop for
Wow.
21 years, and you know how much sacrifices we make when we work, right?
Yes.
And
I
21 years,
absolutely.
it's like daily getting up daily, not thinking about anything, keeping all the things aside, going to work so that you have this commitment to family. and
Total
those,
sacrifice in a way you say, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
total sacrifices, some disallowances for yourself. You don't attend parties, you don't attend that easy life, or some invitations you get for the
Mhm.
functions. You get criticism for the same, but you keep working, keeping your head down and do the hard work, and you then accumulate some part and save some part of it, because rest all you spend. And
Yes.
all that saving of 21 years I lost because of this decision, because I invested in the things I didn't understand. And I'll talk more deeply about this experience when we talk more about the wrong career choices we
Yeah.
make.
That's
But what I
absolutely
felt
good. Yeah.
is,
Mm.
yeah, but what I felt is the deep pain, and I was in a shock and I was in a denial. I never thought I would land in this place, because I always try to do right things. I always try to research things. I always try to be on the right side of everything. I always felt if you work hard enough and you are a good person, you will
Yeah.
always win.
Yeah.
Yeah. But life wanted to teach me some lessons. And what I've learned from my mentors is, if you are emotionally and mentally little vulnerable and weak,
Hmm.
life teach you a lesson so as to make you stronger. And I
Yes.
really had to work very hard to come back and regain control over of my finances,
Mm.
my life, my career situation. So I realized that there are wrong ways of doing things and there are right ways of doing things. And if I can contribute to my clients, our all the beautiful audiences here, and if I could save somebody's hard earned money,
Mhm.
efforts, disappointments, I could save them from that, I would think it would be all worth it.
Wow. Thank you. I can't thank you enough on behalf of our listeners. You just mentioned something that millions of people around the world would keep quiet. And it's interesting. When people make mistakes, they are afraid to share them. And I just want to thank you for coming out and
Yeah,
really sharing the mistake, the career mistake you made, for hastily leaving a job of 21 years and losing all the money.
yeah,
And I think this brings us to a point where um, we have to kind of get more clarity on what career revival is and what that relates, how that relates to job change or like career change. So if you can give us more elaboration and
yeah.
then see your own journey where you quit quickly and then right now where you went through the process of revival. I'm sure our listeners would be very interested to know
Yes,
the more
yes,
details.
yes.
So go for it. Yes.
Yes, sure, sure. Thank you for that question, because what I learned is one wrong mistake in the high stake career and it can wipe out 21 years of hard work. And that's why I shared my story,
Mhm.
because I'm a very private person. Otherwise, I do not like to share. But I understood one thing: if we don't share our experiences, we would be guilty of allowing others to go through some hardship. Right.
Absolutely.
And absolutely, coming back to your question, what would I say about career revival and why it is different than just a job change? I
Mhm.
would like to highlight and talk about six key differences, wherein in career or job change, we start with action, a lot of action, right? It's
Mhm.
like updating CVs,
Yes.
okay, talking to the few people in the network.
Mhm.
What we do in career revival, or what I would recommend, is start with clarity. Don't just update CV and circulate it all along and be panic about finding opportunity.
Mhm.
Rather than starting talking to the few people in the network, which is a good thing, but before that, talk to your own self and understand your own self. What are you here for? What exactly that you're looking to achieve?
Yes.
In career and job change, people start with action first, and I believe we can start with direction first, so that action becomes part of that direction.
So in a way, you are saying that with the revival, it's all about seeking clarity first. So I need to know what am I reviving, right? So that's the kind of thing I'm having. Is that correct?
Yeah, That's absolutely right. If I have to use
Beautiful.
analogy,
Yes.
absolutely, because I call it a journey and we all are on a journey. So
Yes.
instead of deciding where my destination is, what would I need on the way, whether I even want to go there, it is like just start packing the bags, but we don't know where we are going.
Oh,
Right?
very, very nice illustration. So it's like we are packing a bag, but we could go nowhere. We could go in circles, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful. So go on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The third one is people mostly do the job change and career change for better title and package.
Mm.
Where I have seen my clients and myself, what we value is that how to create higher value, impact, fulfillment, recognition, freedom, the kind of things you value more.
Yes.
What matters to you most? That is what we have to see and prepare ourselves for achieving all that. We deserve it. Then
Yes.
the next factor is consideration for changing job is money.
Wow.
Whereas I believe, and the beautiful people I work with, and I
Mm.
realize is that they all believe and value redefined wealth, which is creating assets and creating value and legacy, because that's gonna stay.
Beautiful. And just one thing strikes me. So
Yeah.
with career change, basically the focus is money. I want to get a promotion. I want to get, but with revival, I can see wealth, redefining yourself, and really much more, and bringing the element of value. So clearly from now, I'm able to see with career change, it's a little smaller, but with revival, we are talking about the bigger picture. Wow,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yes,
Go
yes.
on. Yes,
Because I have seen so far, Dr. Gerald, is that we are working for our career because we have
yes,
family commitments and everything. But now we also have to make career work for us. And that is why most of the times people take decision for looking at what has worked for most of other people in their life and peers. So that is conformity based.
yes,
Whereas we can also go for the career which is alignment based, which is about me. So that is
yes.
a major difference. I want to add a quote here, which is a
Mhm.
beautiful quote, a liberating quote
Yes.
from Ralph Ellison. He
Mm.
once said, when I discover who I am, I will be free.
Wow, very
That
powerful.
is so beautiful, right? Because once you
Absolutely.
know who you are, once you are having high self awareness, I think that can set you free.
Beautiful. I just building on what Ellison said. What do I need to do when I plan to make a big career change? Because
Okay.
you've given these two dimensions, and I'm seeing myself wanting to make a career change. What pieces of advice would you want to give me and
Okay.
the
Very,
audience
very.
listening? Yes.
Yeah, it's a very good question because asking some of the what questions is what I love.
Yes.
And the most important thing, what I would say is thinking long term,
Mm.
having high self awareness, and then having a strategic planning and action in place. As I mentioned before, when I realized from my mistake,
Mm.
then making career revival the right way for me and for my clients and for our audience, what I would like to always help is starting with having high self awareness.
Mm.
And that is the reason why many professionals, including me at some point of time, even after changing a job, even after getting that higher designation or
Mm.
package, sometimes they still find themselves in the same position of feeling stuck and unfulfilled. And then we start getting disappointed in ourselves, saying that, hey, why things are not changing with me? I'm working so
Mm.
hard. I got even new job. Why I'm still
Mm.
feeling so frustrated? Right? So it is very important knowing what and asking
Mm.
those what questions. What stage of career you are, and what are
Mm.
you going to cover in this next level of your success journey, and we are
Yes.
going to talk about different levels of success in our
Thank you.
one of the next episode.
Yes, I like
Yeah,
that. I'm sure the listeners would love to hear that, the different levels of career success.
yeah,
Yes.
because most of the people, when I say you can achieve next level of success, so people say, okay, so Shilpa, what is next level? And I'll help you define that, because
Yes,
there is a next level and that is sitting
absolutely,
deep within you. Okay,
absolutely.
so that is what question. Then another question is, what are you trying to achieve? What
Yes.
matters most to you? What is non-negotiable for you? So these are the questions, if you ask yourself, or you can sit with somebody who
Mm.
trusts the process, who understand the process. Because Dr. Gerald, there is no one single answer and approach,
Yes,
as everybody is different at different levels.
yes.
Yeah, because for
And
someone who's, yeah, sorry.
yes, I just wanted to come in quick, and you said everybody is at different levels. And I like the fact that you're mentioning the what questions. So would I be right to say that these are the kind of questions you'll explore with a mentor like yourself, so that the person will wishing to take this career change then has more clarity?
Yes, yes, because I believe clarity is the first step of everything.
Mhm.
Once you're very clear, your actions change, your confidence change, and your faith in the process change. So I ask these questions,
Yes.
and I would encourage you all to go through certain self-awareness questions before you make that next big decision. And I was mentioning that because everybody is different at different levels. It
Yes.
is possible that somebody may be at 40, even after 15, working 15, 20 years, maybe still broke or financially struggling, not
Yeah.
stable. Whereas somebody at 27 and 29 may be
Mhm.
having all the things in the right place and maybe financially stable and ready to go to the next level of success. Right. So next episode will cover, maybe after 2 3 episodes will cover more on what next level means, so that we can bring more clarity.
Absolutely. I love that. I can't wait for the really expansion of the concept of next level. And from our discussions, Shilpa, I know we've always liked the idea of bringing the next level to people. And like we said before, many times, unfortunately, we get stuck in the rat race. We get stuck in our present. We judge our
Yes.
future based on our present realities. And
Yes.
yet, next level, while it takes care of the present, it's way bigger than that. And that's why we invite you to be on the lookout, so that you can actually listen to that gem that, again, Coach Shilpa will be talking about.
Yeah.
And one of the questions, Coach Shilpa, I have for you is, one of the issues, and you keep saying this over and over, why does a person need to do planning before they embark on career transition?
Okay, that's a beautiful question,
Yes.
because I again would start with quote, and I love this quote. You know why? Because expressing so much of value and
Hmm.
clarity by using 7 8 words, I
Yes.
think that's legendary. So
Yes.
Benjamin Franklin once said, by failing to plan, you are preparing to fail.
Yes.
And we don't want to fail.
Yeah.
Failures are expensive, though it
Nobody
teaches
does. Yeah.
us, but it is very expensive.
Yeah.
Hasty actions could be expensive, and there is always some amount of risk in critical decision. And the
Hmm.
point in planning is not to avoid risk, but taking measured risk, so that we have greater upside and manageable downside.
I
So
like that.
plan with
Hmm.
design and strategy is very, very important. In
Yeah.
any situation, plan you must.
Yes.
Okay, as much as you may want to have it, your career journey is not going to be a straight line upward.
Yes.
It is always going to be up and down, right? So throughout the career plan, if you are have planned enough, if you have gathered information enough, and then proceeding on the journey, it is most likely that you will stay motivated during all the twists and turns the career path will throw at you.
That's correct. And I like that too, because motivation is one of the things that makes people almost crawl at the job, right? Many
Yeah.
people, and I'm sure you've witnessed this, there are many people who lack motivation. And so how can we deal with a situation like this?
Yeah. So planning is one thing, but
Mhm.
even before you plan, there is one word which can change a lot of things. It is important to decide. Decision making process is done, if it is done with the help of your coach, mentor, or
Mm.
someone who has done it before and has what you want to have. can lead to specific focus and so much clarity for your journey of career transition, change,
Mhm.
big or small, whatever it is for you, you wish. And
Yes.
we want to help you all. So we would encourage you all to send your questions, your queries, the current challenges you're facing, so that we can deliberate and come up with better solutions for you.
Yes.
And after decision comes planning. And there are three elements I can say about successful planning. When you sit
Yes.
for planning, you have got to get knowing who you really are and what you really want. I cannot enough emphasize on this, maybe this
I like
even
that.
at the cost of repetition.
Yes.
And when you sit for planning, sit with relevant facts for the risk assessment and then
Yes.
for risk mitigation,
Yes.
and start building that resilience so that you have a faith in the process. One critical factor, Dr. Gerard, in the success journey is being resilient. And there are five types of resilience I always talk about as
Yes.
financial resilience, emotional resilience, mental resilience, spiritual resilience, and physical resilience.
So 5 key elements of resilience. Is there an
Yeah.
opportunity that you'll be able to elaborate more for the listeners in the future about this?
Yeah. We would definitely do a separate episode on building resilience,
Mhm.
because when you have that, you have a greater capacity to bounce back faster, stay motivated, inspired faster, and achieve results you really want to achieve. And we do all that process of resilience so that we can take care of our loved ones. We
Mhm.
can be that strong pillar for our family, our commitments, our own well being, and their own well being, because we would be then able to see the roadblocks and potholes on the way and
Yes.
still say above those potholes. So
Yeah.
this journey becomes sustainable. It is
Yes.
never easy. Nobody
Yes.
has promised us anything easy,
Yeah.
but we can make it better, faster, and enjoyable.
I like that. Better, fast, and enjoyable, right? Even though it's not easy, because nobody promises in life that good things will never be easy, right? So
Yeah.
aware of that. And so what you're talking about here is having that clarity working with a coach. Your life will definitely be better. You will achieve success faster and enjoyable. So really going through all this, and as our listeners are just paying attention to it, I would like you to kind of give us some key take home messages so that as
Okay.
we come to the end of this segment, we can really go home and say, yes, this is what I had from Coach Shilpa, and these are the actionable points that I will be implementing. So go for it.
Yeah, sure. So let me summarize it in a minute. Like,
Yes.
what we saw today is what is the difference between career change, transition, and revival, and why it is important to plan your transition.
Yes.
Also, to learn lessons from the mistake you make, because those lessons might be providing the direction in your life. So, listen to those messages of your mistakes.
Mhm.
It is important to have higher self awareness, align your career to who you are, and
Mhm.
start building resilience. If I have to drive any 3 points from today's discussion, it would be these three.
Love that.
Because, Dr. Gerald, as much as we want to do right things, it
Mhm.
is also helpful to avoid the mistakes which will rob us.
I know.
And that's why, as a career revival specialist, I've come up with something special for our audience. And
Yes.
I'll share a link below as a special bonus for our audience, which is a downloadable quick book PDF, so that you can avoid this deadly mistakes from today. Because I
Like that.
love all my sincere, hardworking professionals, and you deserve best.
Yes. I love that. And I think this is really, really good. And as Coach Silpa just mentioned, she's prepared a special material for you, what she calls a quick book. So down below, there's going to be a link. And as you finish watching this episode, make sure you download this, make sure you take the necessary actions she takes. I'm sure she's going to invite you to join her, where also you can send an email, for instance, if you'd like to talk to her about career transition or career revival or career change. Now that you have more clarity on that, please write to her on leadtalk leadershipgrowpodcast@gmail.com, and we will be right there to help you. And if there's something you'd like to talk about leadership, or you have concerns that are linked more to the side of leadership, go ahead. We will be with you. And one of the key things we'd like to invite you to do is subscribe to this podcast, download, and make sure you share this episode with your loved ones so that we can share the message. We can go ahead. So make sure, go ahead and join the private leadership group and the transition group so that you are able to empower your career growth, right? So that you do not make the mistakes we've been able to make. And finally, feel free, reach to us for coaching, for consultation, for mentoring and speaking engagement. So again, use the email leadtalkpodcast@gmail.com